stuff. Friday.
Is that still going?
All right. Hey. It is Friday. Beautiful day here in Ontario.
Yeah, it's really nice today.
Yeah, really nice. And so we're happy to join you.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in and for watching, whether it's live or rebroadcasting. Welcome to you on Facebook. Welcome to y'all in... what's up, Benny? Good to see you. And congratulations, my man.
Hi, Benny. My name's Liz.
My name's Orlando.
And we're just bringing some courage for the day. We actually wanted to talk to you about, and for those of you who maybe have kids, and there's like a specific child that you have in your family that is
special,
is more work maybe than some of your other children are, and they're a bit challenging. I come from a family where there was two of us, and I think I can say this without being biased, but I think it was my brother he was good. He's a pretty good guy, but I think he was the one that was more problematic than I was. I don't know. In your family, who was the more challenging?
It was probably, Francis. It's probably the middle boy.
Middle boy.
But there is four of us, my two older brothers and then my younger sister.
Yeah.
But I think it's Francis was the handful, in my opinion anyways. I mean, it could have been me from what others saw, but
Okay. Yeah. So, every family, I believe, has a child that is maybe more challenging than some of the other children.
Yep.
We can kind of share our experience. We do have a child that is more challenging than our other kids.
Well, they're all challenging in their own way. But some are more than others.
There's one that's a spicy one. We have one real spicy child. And
spicy one.
The first time I was talking to my mentor about this, and I told her, like, I was really struggling with, this particular child. And she said to me, love him more. And I was like, oh, man, like, I love this kid so much. She's like, no, more. Like, if you think you spend time with him, spend more time with him.
Yeah.
Love him more. Give him way more attention than you usually give him. And I was like, okay. And so I started to do that. And lo and behold, it actually makes a positive difference. Yeah, it really does. And so...
Why do you think that is, though? Like, is it middle child syndrome?
I'm not sure. Well, for us... maybe it is our middle child, but maybe that birth order has something to do with it. Because we noticed that when our eldest son isn't around, he's not as spicy. But when there's three,
they're all spicy.
It becomes a bit of a handful sometimes.
Yeah. So I think in terms of that whole dynamic of middle child, it's a real thing, and if you talk to others who have 3 or 4 kids, that middle syndrome is something that is seen in a lot of different families. And being in the middle, so I was the youngest growing up. Now we have a younger sister, but growing up I was the youngest. So they always say the youngest gets
away with everything.
I don't know if I did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll have to ask Mom and Dad and see what
Probably.
they say.
Probably.
Yeah. I didn't get away with everything. Well, that's because I think I was a pretty good kid.
Well, there was only 2 of you. So.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, yes, I was the youngest.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is a parenting, expert. His name is Dr. Justin Coulson on Instagram, and I had seen this thing that said, spend more time with your most challenging child. And it just really resonated with me because it reminded me of what my mentor said, Pastor Ida. She said, love on him more. And I think you were going to share something from the Bible.
Yeah. So the 2 verses that I want to share with us is Ephesians chapter 6:4 and Colossians 3:21. Ephesians says this: Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Colossians 3:21 echoes the same thing, where it says, fathers, do not provoke your children lest they become discouraged. Now, when you look inside different commentaries, they all pretty much say the same thing, that because it was a patriarchal society, it is targeted to fathers. But it is, in that culture, it was actually targeted to both parents.
Yeah.
So to mothers and to fathers. And this, definitely, refers to both.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think as parents, we can exasperate our children. Clean your room. When we go back
Do
in
the dishes
every 2 minutes to
Pick
check
up
if it's
after
been
you.
done. Yeah, and it's just
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of do this, do this, do this. And sometimes we expect our children to do the things the way we would do them. Which
Yes.
is not, the way I clean is going to be very different than the way, a 12-year-old cleans. And so to constantly be on them, it can get really, really exasperating for them.
Yes, but I need them to make an effort, though.
Yeah. Yes, they need to, when you catch your kids cleaning.
Yes.
And it's real weak stuff. It's man, you have to redo that whole thing over again. So we always preface, if you don't do it right, then you're going to have to do it over again.
Yeah. And this whole understanding of provoke, and it comes in both verses, where it's likened unto a fire, where it starts small, but then the provoking is adding wood to the fire. So then it becomes very, very strong. It becomes very big. And obviously this is something that is internal. But what it could lead down to, and this verse tells us, it could lead down to anger, and it could lead down, in Colossians it says, to become discouraged.
Yeah.
So I think the way that we do speak to the kids, the way that we admonish them or speak to them,
even the way we discipline them,
and even the way that they're disciplined, all of this will,
it affects the way
it affects them. It adds fuel to that fire.
Yes, and I think we need to check ourselves as parents. If we're disciplining in anger, then stuff flies out of our mouth that is not supposed to be happening. And there's a quote by, I think, is it Peggy O'Mara? She says, Peggy O'Mara, she says, the way we talk to our children becomes their inner voice.
Yeah.
So if we're like, oh, you're so lazy, you're so dumb, or whatever it is, the way we say that to our kids, they internalize that. If we make comments about, their bodies, if we call them slobs or whatever it is, that stuff internalizes. And you might have experienced that when somebody said something unkind to you. Man, those words stay with you. I still remember some of the things that, not my parents, but other people had said to me as a child. And I'm 42. I still remember it. Yeah.
And each child is different. So the way that you speak and mold each child is going to be different, because they're going to receive it in different ways too. And so just being able to understand that when we do talk to our kids, with the tone, with the voice, with the stance, and is it building them up or is it tearing them down? And like this says, it provokes, it leads to anger, or it could lead to discouragement. And what happens when you're just self-deflated, we're just deflated with life and everything. Marcus Garvey says this: if you have no confidence in self, you are twice defeated in the race of life. With confidence, you have already won even before you have started. And so, just take into consideration how you talk to the kids, how you build them up, because you want to be able to build up their confidence, and not always just, hammer them down.
Yeah. Nika said, what if you have a child that's very dramatic? We have to take that in consideration too. Absolutely.
Yep.
Some of us, we have kids that cry at the drop of a hat, the tears come quick styles.
Yeah.
We just have to talk to them and address it, And I never think, and I don't think we should ever kind of minimize people's emotions, because, as a child, we keep telling them to stop crying or don't be sad about that. But when we do things like that, that affects how they are able able or unable to express their emotions when they're adults. So if we
Mm-hmm.
constantly tell our kids, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, they're not going to be able to release those emotions
Sure.
when they're adults.
Sure.
And so we just have to be really careful the way we speak to our kids.
Yeah.
Because again, they carry all of that
Mm-hmm.
into adulthood.
Yep. And like the verse says right at the end, it says, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord.
Yeah. And
That's-
discipline's hard, man.
Discipline is hard. Instruction, your, positive and admonishing, rebuking, training, and correction. All of these things, it's not just positive, but there
Yeah.
are, what's the other side, of what is happening in the person's life. And so you got to balance those things. And, but in the end, everything has to be, to lift them up, to build them up. And so they can, live the way that God wants them to live.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Use your teachable moments wherever they may be. So the one practical thing we're gonna share with you today is if you have a difficult child, we're gonna say to increase the time that you spend with them for 30 minutes extra. So
Yeah.
even though you spend like enough time with your kid, increase it to an extra 30 minutes. Hopefully it's just one-on-one time, even
Yes.
if you have more than one child, and just pour into them, even if it's if you think, could I possibly do any more? Do an extra 30 minutes.
Just with that kid alone.
Yeah, it makes all the difference.
Yes.
We have seen it. So please, if this is something that you're willing to do, or if you've experienced this in your own kids, please leave a comment below and just let us know if it's worked for you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we hope that you have a great weekend. It's beautiful out there wherever you are. If you're tuning in from the South Pacific, then it is winter time. Bundle up, keep warm, and we hope to see you again next week.
Yeah, but if you're Ontario, go run in the sprinkler.
Absolutely.
There you go.
All right, everyone. Take care. God bless.
Hi, Vicky. I hope you all